Hi everyone, welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name is Jordan, I am your host tonight, and this evening we have the lovely Heather joining us this evening. Come on in and say hello, Heather. So Heather is going to be monitoring all the questions and comments that you guys will be posting on YouTube tonight. So make sure you send a few good ones in at any point throughout the evening. If you have a question, send it our way. We are going to be running this live stream for about 20 to 30 minutes tonight, and we have so many thousands of people watching our wonderful little penguins make their way home tonight. So if we don't get to your question this evening, please don't worry. We do have a dedicated team of penguin rangers going through the Facebook comments and answering all your questions within about 24 hours or so. We unfortunately can't do that on YouTube just because of some technical reasons that I'm not entirely sure about. So that's why we'll be monitoring the YouTube comments tonight. But again, rest assured on Facebook, we will be getting back to you within about 24 hours or so. So we are here at the world famous Penguin Parade on Phillip Island in Victoria, Australia. Over here we have a beautiful, nice night. We don't have too many clouds. It's quite a high tide. And I have been told by Ranger Beck and Ranger Sally that there are quite a few groups of penguins out in the water. Now, if you're a regular watcher of Live Penguin TV, you will know the name of the group of penguins out in the water, and that is called a raft. R-A-F-T, because they float on the surface of the water just like a raft. Now, I believe they're quite far out at the moment, but because we have a clear night, we'll see if we can spot any kind of dark patches in the water. They'll probably be about 1 to 200 metres out in the ocean at the moment. And I must apologise, I've only got a really small screen here to zoom in on the penguins. So if you're watching on a nice big TV at home, you guys will probably be able to see the rafts of penguins better than me. So I feel like, can I see anything? Oh, is that one just there? It's a little bit hard. I'm just spotted a kind of a dark bit in the water. I'm going to have to zoom in quite far. And the reason the penguins are kind of, I think that might be, can everyone see there's a bit of a shadow in the water? I wonder if that's them. Their heads up and they're making a sound which you guys, if you are regular watchers, will be very familiar with. It's called a huck. Huck, 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 huck. So huck, huck to you all you water watchers out there joining us to live. Oh, did everyone just see that big bird flying up over us there? I wonder if that was one of our short-tailed shearwaters, but I'll tell you a little bit about them a little later on. Let me zoom in on this group. Is it Heather? Yes, awesome. Look at my camera skills. That's a nice big group over there. So you can see they're all huddled together. They're making a sound. Oh, come on, camera, let's focus. Making a sound called, might zoom out just a touch, might be a bit clearer. There we go. Look at them all. So when they're out in the ocean, when they're getting ready to make their way home to land, they want to have as many friends with them as possible, because crossing the beach at the end of the day is the scariest part of the day for these little penguins. Out in the ocean, they've got beautiful navy blue feathers on their back, which helps them camouflage against the water. Oh my gosh, they are definitely making a beeline for it tonight. But when they cross the open, golden, sandy beach, that's when they're the most vulnerable. They don't blend in, they don't camouflage. Oh, that's a big raft. They don't blend in very well with the water. So what they're waiting for it to get nice and dark. So they know that when it gets to a certain light level, all those big, scary predatory birds, such as swamp harriers, sea eagles, Pacific gulls, they've returned to their nests for the night, and they're not going to be able to snack on a penguin as they cross the beach in the dark as they make their way home to Phillip Island. So this is, I think, the biggest raft I've ever spotted out in the water on Live Penguin TV. So I'm super excited. You don't always get to see these rafts because if it's a really choppy night, they're really, really hard to spot. And that's probably a good thing. It means predatory birds can't see them either. In fact, it looks like this group, it's starting to split off a little bit. Did you see that? I wonder if they've spotted their landmarks on the beach and they go, all right, we're coming together and this is our train stop. I'm getting off and I'm going to keep on going. So I reckon, they've kind of come in together and now they've split off. So I might keep watching this one on the right because I believe these ones will be the ones that come up on Penguins Plus, which is the pathway, the biggest pathway, the most popular pathway here at the Penguin Parade, and one of the ones that we tend to focus on for live Penguin TV here. And if you can notice, it looks like there's a bird kind of flying around. It was very small. It was going quite fast. I think, oh, there's another one. I believe it's a little bit hard to tell, but I think that might be a short-tailed shearwater. And those are really, really cool migratory birds that come all the way from the Aleutian Islands. Oh, there's another one off the coast of Alaska, and they come down to Australia, to Phillip Island, and along the south kind of eastern coast of Australia to breed and to lay one single egg. So they're flying non-stop for about two weeks, and yeah, they land exhausted here on Phillip Island, and we have a really, really big colony living here at the Penguin Parade as well. In fact, I was out in the field in one of our study sites with Ranger Megan, who's a fellow live stream. Oh yeah, there's quite a few of them flying around. How cool! Yeah, we were out checking on some penguins and weighing them, which is why I've kind of got some green fingers and dirty hands at the moment. I didn't get a chance to wash my hands before the live stream tonight. And we heard a few of them at home, and they've got quite an interesting sound, the short-tailed shearwaters. It kind of sounds like an asthmatic witch cackling. And if you've watched before, you'll know that I love imitating penguins, and now I'm going to imitate a shearwater for you. It's not as good as my penguin call, so I do apologise, but it's kind of like Heather's just laughing at me over there. And she knows I don't mind making a fool of myself. Alrighty, so it looks like these penguins are starting to. Oh yeah, look at the shearwaters! How exciting! They only spend about 6 months of the year here in Phillip Island, so it's really exciting because they only just got back in mass last week. So yeah, very, very exciting to see them flying around. And they aren't predators of the penguins. They kind of eat similar food, but they fly much further out to sea to find their food. So they don't compete for fish out in the ocean or anything. Alrighty, so we're watching two rafts. All right, I think they're really zooming in at the moment. So while they zoom, I will also zoom. Here we go. You can kind of just see their little heads above the water going, ha, 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 ha. They're talking to each other, although it's probably quite zoomed in, so the camera's struggling to focus just a little bit. So I did mention that we are here on Phillip Island in Victoria, Australia, but Phillip Island is also known by another name, and that's Malau. And Malau is the Bunurong term for Phillip Island, and the Bunurong people are the traditional custodians of the land here on Malau. So I would like to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of the land and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and thank them for their care and connection to country over so many thousands of years, which is why we have such a wonderful, healthy population of the little penguin, the smallest species of penguin in the world here on Malau. And the Bunurong have been found to come over to Phillip Island seasonally, living very sustainably with the land. They weren't here all the time. It was only when food was plentiful, and they only took as much as they needed. So I would like to thank them for the sustainable management of Malau and of the kind of southeastern Gippsland where we are here, and ask that if you're watching at home to think about ways that you can live like the traditional custodians of the land, and think about ways that, yeah, you can reduce your impact on the environment, whether you try to reduce how much plastic you're using, try to source ethical seafood, and try to reduce your, look at them, they're catching a wave. Oh, they're going to get dumped. Yeah, think about ways that you can live more harmoniously with the land, and you'll be able to help our penguins out and lots of other marine life out in the water as well. So thank you very much for that, everyone. All right, and let us know in the comments the names of the traditional custodians of the land where you're joining us from. We've been overwhelmed and so thrilled at the amount of people who know who the traditional custodians are, and how much respect they've been shown. Alrighty, they are very much getting closer to shore. We can see they have now encountered the waves, and so the waves start crashing when they're getting closer to shore. So this is a good sign that hopefully we will be able to see them very, very shortly. Now, I know there is a burning question on everyone's mind, and that will be how many penguins crossed the beach last night in our penguin count. And I believe Heather has the number for us. So, Heather, can you tell us how many penguins crossed the beach last night?
Sure can, Jordan. 2,246 penguins.
2,000, excuse my green fingers, 2,246 penguins. My golly, we have Ranger Beck, here they are. We have Ranger Beck and Sally counting the penguins tonight. So if they have nearly as many penguins as that tonight, send them all the luck and all the love, because we also have quite a high tide tonight, which means the Rangers don't have a long stretch of beach to be able to count the penguins. Here they are. Look at them go. They are washing up. So if you want, let us know in the comments how many penguins you think are crossing the beach in each group that we are watching. You'll have to be counting very, very quick tonight, and we'll try to be as accurate as we can, because this seems to be a large group. Oh, look at them coming over the rocks. And as we were watching the countdown tonight, I saw someone say, I hope the waterfall is back tonight. And I can tell you guys that it absolutely is. So I'll zoom out for you just now. And it's a big raging waterfall. Look at all those rapids. So not only do the penguins have to clamber over all of these rocks, they have to be able to fight and go against the water. So the waves are bringing them in one way and the waterfall is pushing them in another. So I was really, really excited watching over the weekend as Sky was being the host, and I was so impressed to see how well these penguins managed to cross the beach as the waterfall was going on as well. So it looks like these were the first penguins to cross the beach, Heather, is that right?
Jordan, yes.
We've got our first brave penguins, and they've come out and it's quite light still, so they are very, very keen to get home. So they've arrived at 8:03 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So look at them go. They have decided to stop. You know what? If you have watched in the past, you would have seen some nights where the penguins cross the beach on a really low tide. They like to kind of stop on these rocks and have a little bit of a rest. But because they pretty much surf the waves directly into the rocks up here, I wonder if they'll want to stop and have a bit of a rest, or if they're going to keep on going. My bet is that they're probably going to keep on going, because we are right in the heart of the breeding season, which again, if you are regular watchers, you will know all about this. Hopefully soon we might even be able to see some little chicks that are about kind of 2 to 3 weeks old coming out of their burrows and kind of bothering any adult that goes past, trying to get a snack. Because at night, that is when parents will return and regurgitate some of the food that they've been finding out in the ocean. Look at them go. It looks like there's one penguin that's struggling. I shouldn't laugh. Where is he? He's really trying to go right up the middle of I'm going to see if I can really zoom in on him. Just go either side of the waterfall, penguin. Yeah, that's the way. There we go. He's worked it out. So, guys, if you are ever caught in a rip out to sea, look, there we go. It's very smart penguin. Make sure you swim against the current. Or in fact, let us have a look. It looks like we have some penguins coming up the Penguin Highway, and a shell gritter as well.
So, Jordan, in that first group, for all our viewers that are guessing, there was 152 penguins.
152 penguins in that first group crossing the beach. Wow, Beck had a really, really tricky job counting them tonight, because that beach is so small because of the high tide. So she did really, really well. And she's been counting penguins for a very, very long time. And she even did her PhD in penguins. So she's a bit of a penguin expert. Looks like there's a penguin having a look at its reflection in the mirror. In the window. Do you think you look very beautiful? That one on the far left. Okay, we've disappeared now. Oh, and another one just fell over as it was coming up the Penguin Highway. So this is a really, really popular route here at the Penguin Parade, like we call it the Penguin Highway. The penguins go top speed up here because they know that this is how we go home, and they're able to recognise the exits to the highway and the little residential streets and the driveways that take them back to their very own burrow. If you have joined us here, if you've been watching the live Penguin TV and been lucky enough to live in regional Victoria and come to see these penguins in the flesh, you would have been able to sit just on top of where we have this camera here and watch them waddle all the way home up the Penguin Highway. So it looks like we've got another group rounding the corner, and we've got two penguins who have just decided to stop in the highway. Oh no, three penguins. I wonder if they're just hanging out, or I wonder if they're a little bit of a mother's group of shell gritters. Now, if this is your first night joining Live Penguin TV, you might be thinking, shell gritter, what on earth is this woman talking about? So female penguins, when they're getting ready to lay their eggs, they head down to the ocean, to the beach at night if they've been in their burrows all day, to nibble on little bits of seashells, which helps give them the calcium to make their eggshells nice and strong. So if you're seeing any penguins making their way, going the opposite way to the other penguins tonight, you'll know that that is a female penguin, or it's most likely a female penguin who's going down to the beach to get her calcium supplement. She's kind of got some cravings. Alright, let us jump back to the beach, to the rocks, everyone, and we'll see what's going on. So it looks like we've still got a group of penguins. They're stopping, they're breathing, they are catching their breath, making themselves look beautiful because their feathers are properly ruffled after surfing those waves in and trying to climb up these rocks against the raging torrent of water from the waterfall over here. I wonder if we're going to have any more penguins starting to cross the beach. I'm still so stoked that we got to see that raft come all the way in. That was absolutely amazing. Doesn't look like we have anyone. Oh, there's a couple of penguins here and there. Again, if I do scroll past a raft of penguins coming in, I've only got a tiny little screen to see them. So I remember when I've been at home, I haven't been working. I can't stop watching Penguin TV. I'm like, oh my God, there's a raft. But it's really, really hard to talk, control the camera, and look out for what's going as well. So let us know. Oh, in fact, I think I might even be able to see a few more rafts. They just kind of went over this wave over here. Let's have a look to see if we can see them. Now that it's starting to get a little bit darker, it might be harder to zoom in out to see, but I'll do my best for you. Is that them, or am I just dreaming? Am I imagining things? What do we think? Can anyone see them? Let us know in the comments. I can't tell. Damn it. That's all right. I will focus on the penguins hanging out on these rocks just over here, and we'll be able to see if any penguins cross the beach just behind them. We've got two brave ones making their way across just now. So I'll let you know a little bit about who we are, who Phillip Island Nature Parks is as well, if this is your first time watching. So Phillip Island Nature Parks is the organisation that manages the Penguin Parade and also the Koala Conservation Reserve, Churchill Island Heritage Farm and the Nobby's Antarctic Journey, as well as a range of reserves and coastal beaches as well. So yeah, we manage about 20% of Phillip Island, and we get most of our funding through tourism. So while we haven't been able to open our doors as much as, oh, looks like we've got a bit of a courtship display up in the top right-hand corner. Let's keep an eye on those two. Yeah, while we haven't been able to open to the public, people who have donated to the Penguin Foundation have really helped us protect these little penguins, because the Penguin Foundation goes towards funding our wildlife hospital here at the Penguin Parade, which specialises in penguin care and rehabilitation, as well as a range of conservation and research programs that we have to help keep our native wildlife safe here on Phillip Island. So if you have donated to the Penguin Foundation in the past, thank you so much. And if you are thinking about donating to the Penguin Foundation, the link is just in the description below. You can make a donation, you can become a penguin pal and get this cute little plushie here, which have these beautiful hand knitted jumpers that we've got from all over the world. Or yeah, you can adopt a penguin and name that as well. You can name it whatever you like. So most of the penguins that we have here in our study sites are microchipped, so they kind of have a unique name. It might be 7234567 7, let's say. But yeah, if you want to give them an actual name and adopt a penguin, you are more than welcome to. And yeah, any spare change that you've got, we really appreciate any donations that you can make to us here at the Penguin Foundation, because it helps us keep these little penguins happy, healthy and safe, and that way we can see them here on the live TV as well. Look at them go, aren't they beautiful? So it's a little bit hard to tell that they've got beautiful blue feathers on their back. They kind of look black and white here, but if you have joined us at the Penguin Parade in person, you'll see they've got beautiful navy blue feathers on their back. And they are the only penguins in the world with blue feathers. So quite special, they're quite unique. Looks like we might have a shell gritter going the opposite way on the Penguin Highway, a female penguin going down to the beach to nibble on little bits of seashells. Oh no, she's turning around. What are you doing? What are you doing? These penguins hanging around on the rocks, making themselves look beautiful. I wonder if they're not in quite as much of a hurry to go home as the other ones that we've seen, because maybe they're not breeding. Maybe they're not breeding yet. So they aren't in much of a hurry to get home. They don't need to come home to swap over sitting on egg duties. They don't need to go home to regurgitate fish to their young. So they're just happy to hang out on these resting rocks and do a little bit of yoga. Did you see that very graceful dive the penguin did into the water over there? We still have our big, beautiful pond out the front of the Penguins Plus stand. Let us see if we can see any penguins hanging out on the hill before it gets too dark. Nothing yet, nothing yet. I don't want to move it too quickly because I don't want to make anyone seasick. Alrighty, I can see a little bit of action just... Hello, is this I think I've just spotted a chick. Let's see if I can really zoom in. I think this is the first chick it is that we've seen on live Penguin TV. Oh, how cute. So you can see that this penguin is the one kind of on the right. It nearly looks like it's adult size, but it's looking a little bit brown and fluffy. Look at it shaking its feathers. And I'd say the penguin to its left is probably mum or dad. And that is there's a second chick just behind the box. Can you see it? Let's see if I can center it on. Oh, how exciting. I'm not sure if we've seen any chicks on live Penguin TV before, but this is really, really good to see, because these chicks, they're old enough to kind of come out of their burrows now. Now, I can't see too much kind of adult plumage coming through. So, oh, is that a third chick? Come behind the box. I wish I could zoom in and go around the corner. I'd say these ones, yeah, because I can't really see any adult feathers starting to come through. Maybe about 3 or 4 weeks old. But because they have a really, really rich diet of fish, of squid, of jellyfish, lots of, there is 3 chicks, not 1, not 2, but 3 chicks. How exciting. So it looks like there's 2 boxes here, so they probably belong to those 2 over here. So 2 of them would be siblings and the other one would be the neighbour. And sometimes we actually see the chicks coming out of their burrows, and when they get a little bit older, they can be left a few days alone without their parents. No, don't go behind the box. Come around so we can see. Oh, big stretch. So yeah, sometimes they can crash together. So we'll open kind of a box if we're doing our burrow checks, and look at them go. We might find maybe 2, maybe 3. In fact, I think it might have been last Friday. We were Megan and I were checking out our study site, and there was 3 chicks in one burrow. We're like, what is going on? So when the parents are out to see if they leave them for a day or 2, the chicks will come out. They'll try to get food off any. Oh, I'm so happy. Food off any adults around the place, but only mum or dad will feed them. So they have to wait. Parents can recognise who their chicks are. I'm so happy. Look, I was hanging out with, must have been about 60 chicks, because we've got quite a lot of burrows in our study site with chicks at the moment, but it's still so exciting to see them. There's so much happening on the Penguin Highway, and I bet that's probably because there was a group crossing the beach just now, but who cares? We have chicks. Looks like a couple of them. I wonder if we can see, are you going to feed it? Come out from under the grass. You can see the chicks playing in the back. So yeah, I'd say there's 2 adults and 3 chicks hanging around here. They're probably parents guarding their chicks and making sure they're nice and safe. That chick at the back is struggling, trying to get through that little branch. Come on, little dude. Probably so fat and chunky from all the fish that mum and dad have been giving it that it can't quite fit. Look at those 2 chicks hanging around together. So cute. So penguins lay 2 eggs at a time. So when we are going to monitor the chicks, what we do to try and work out, we track the weight of the chicks to see how well they're going. And there are, oh, look at it go, look at it go. We have some really, really fat chicks at the moment. And what we do to make sure we're always kind of recording the data for the right chick is we put a little bit of green food dye on the little white tummy feathers of the chick that's heaviest, which is why I have green fingers at the moment. Put a little cotton bud and just kind of wipe it on the chest. That's like the food dye that you'd buy at the supermarket, and that way whenever we come back to that burrow to see how well the chicks are progressing with their weight, oh, it looks like, is that parent trying to feed it? We can always make sure we're recording the data for the right penguin. Now, chicks, you can never give them enough food. They'll go, Mum, Dad, I'm hungry. I want more food. What's for dinner? And when they get to this age, when they can kind of come out their burrow, you can see they bully the adult just a little bit. And sometimes the adults kind of have to run away to get away from the chicks. And the chicks don't tend to stray too far away from their burrows. But if the adult needs a little bit of a break, might just run a few meters away. Ooh, catch my breath. Those kids, I can't wait for them to fledge. So I think that's what's going on just here at the moment. All right. Well, we know the chicks are here, and I am conscious that I want to see what else is going on. So I'll make sure I pan back to this spot in a little bit. But how exciting! We officially have chicks coming out of their burrows here at Penguins Plus. We've got 1 penguin coming out of the water just here. That's a nice chunky penguin as well. So in the penguin world, the fatter you are, the more attractive you are. So it's a really good thing when we see fat, healthy, chunky penguins. It means there's plenty of food out to see. Where are you? I can see you kind of commandoing through the grass. And a lot of the chicks that Megan and I have been weighing in our study site even outweigh the parents, which is a really, really good sign. There's plenty of food out there, and the parents, you can still see the chicks in the top of the screen. Yeah, they're bringing plenty of food back for themselves and for their young as well. So it looks like it's going to be a really good breeding season, at least so far this year. So good, in fact, you might have heard me talking about the first penguin chicks of the season. Oh, yeah, we've got quite a few hanging around on the resting rocks just over here. Oh, and there's a nice big group crossing the beach just over here. So a couple of weeks ago, the first chicks of the season actually did fledge, so they made their way out into the ocean. And yeah, they're on their own. They have to learn to fish, dive, swim, all of that by themselves. And yeah, we recently over the weekend had another chick fledge, which is really exciting. But the parents of the first chicks of the season now have 2 more eggs in their burrows, and normally the breeding season will start to ramp up about now, but they're already on their 2nd clutch. So they are very, very good parents, and if they are able to successfully raise their chicks and there's still plenty of food out there, they might even be able to have a 3rd clutch. So really, really good signs here at the breeding season at the Penguin Parade. I know I've been talking quite a bit at the moment, so I might ask Heather to see if we've had any questions coming through. I can see them kind of just at the corner of my eye. We've got a big kind of projector screen off to the right. We're seeing lots and lots of questions coming through. So Heather, you've got any good questions that I can answer?
I do have, Jordan. Just before I do the question, in the last group that we're looking at coming ashore, there were over 200 in that group, folks. So
over 200 penguins in that last group. My lordy.
And the question is, what is the heaviest penguin that you've weighed, Jordan?
The heaviest penguin that I've weighed. Okay, so I'm going to answer that in 2 bits. Excuse my green fingers. The heaviest penguin that I've weighed, I reckon, might have been a really big chunky male when I was doing my penguin handling training. So if you are a penguin ranger here at the Penguin Parade, you have to go through your penguin handling training. And that's so that if there's a sick or injured penguin or it's kind of in some distress, you are able to safely pick it up and put it in a safer place or take it to our research hospital. So, our rehabilitation hospital. So, I remember this really big male that had a really thick beak with a nice big curve on the end. I opened the burrow, and it might have been my second or third penguin that I'd ever handled. And I was like, oh my goodness, you are a monster. And I think it was nearly 1,500 grams, which is so 1.5 kilos, which is huge. And it wasn't even the molting season. So at the moment, we've got some really heavy chicks. In fact, I think today Megan weighed a chick that was nearly 1,300 grams, so 1.3 kilos, which is just phenomenal. So that's probably the heaviest chick I've ever seen, but the heaviest penguin in general would be a penguin that we start to weigh in the molting season, which is kind of late summer, early autumn. So February, March here in Australia, because in the molting season, every single year, penguins lose and replace all their feathers. So a penguin that's 1 year old versus a penguin that's 25, 26 years old might look exactly the same because every single year they lose and replace all their feathers. So they don't get grey feathers, they don't have grey hairs like me. So when they do that, they have to spend 2.5 kind of to 3 weeks on no food, no water. They don't get to go out in the ocean. They don't get to find any food. So they have to double their body weight. So normally they're around about 1 kilo. So quite often we get penguins that weigh about 2 kilos in February or March because they invest all that energy into losing all their old feathers. So they look really puffy and scruffy and really grumpy because they're going without food for such a long time. But at the end, they're really skinny little penguins, but they've got beautiful brand new blue feathers and they're ready to head out into the ocean again. So yeah, I think regularly during the molting season, you get penguins that are about 2 kilos or even more. So that 1.5 kilo penguin that I weighed when I was a brand new penguin ranger, trying to handle this monster penguin, I reckon he would have been well over 2 kilograms. So great question. Looks like I wonder if is this a shell gritter, a female penguin going the opposite way? Am I imagining things? Can see the nice kind of gleaming feathers on the back. Oh yeah, I think it might be a shell gritter. Have a look at her behaviour. She's kind of looking down. Oh, there she goes. Looking for little bits of seashells that she can munch on and get that calcium from her bones. So while we are having some really, really fat, chunky penguins coming home, it means there's plenty of food out in the ocean, lots of pilchards, anchovies, all that good stuff, which is a really good sign. So sometimes we do have breeding seasons where the penguins are coming back a little bit lighter, and that's because the food is a little bit further away. And right in the Bass Strait, which some of our penguins choose to hunt in to find those feeding hotspots, they might come into contact with commercial fisheries. So quite often we find that the penguin's favourite food, the pilchard, can be in some cat foods. So if you do have a cat at home, if you would like to help us protect these penguins, try to find pet food that doesn't have fish in it, because that is directly competing with these guys when they're out in the ocean. And same goes for all you humans out there. Think about where your seafood is coming from. Think if you eat tuna, make sure it's line caught and sustainably fished and sustainably farmed as well, because that is greatly going to help our little penguins as well as seals and an array of marine life that we have here on Phillip Island and all around the world. So yeah, if I can ask one thing of you guys tonight, try to avoid cat food with fish, with pilchards and anchovies in it, and also, oh my gosh, did you just see that poo? That was a project. I'm going to rewatch that because we have a little screen on the right which does it about 15 seconds later. I want to watch that again. Is it that? Hang on. Oh no. Hang on. Are we going to go? It definitely was. Sorry guys. So when on the little screen off to the right, it's kind of like delayed by 10 to 15 seconds. So I thought I saw it, and then I just wanted to make sure that I saw it on the right-hand screen as well. Very exciting. And penguin poo, you probably all know that I love penguin poo, and I've got a little bit of it on my hand at the moment. That is how we work out what penguins have been eating. So I was out with one of our research technical officers, Paula, this morning, putting out little bits of cardboard in the entranceways of penguin burrows, because the reason penguins have projectile poo is so that they don't mess up their burrow too much. So they kind of face their bottoms towards the entrance of their burrow and they go poof, just like we saw that penguin up on the little diving board over there, to keep their burrows nice and clean. And then we end up looking at that to see what they've been eating. So that's how we know they eat pilchards and anchovies, and that's why we ask that you think about where you're getting your seafood and your pet food from as well. Heather has just advised me that we've got about 5 minutes to go, everyone. So I just wanted to jump back to our little chickie burrows and see if we can still see them. I can see a little bit of movement. Let's focus in on there. As it gets a bit darker, it's a little harder to see. I might have just zoomed in a little much here, but let's have a look, see if we can see them. I can see one little chick hiding just kind of around the corner, and it's a bit hard to see. So there's two penguins kind of a little bit lower on the screen. The one that's got its back to us, it's a bit hard to tell for me if that's an adult or a chick, but the chick looks like it's slowly kind of coming around, maybe try and get a little bit of a bite to eat. Oh yeah, here we go, coming around. Or have you just gone back into your burrow? What are you doing there? Oh yeah, there we go, two chicks. Are they starting to chase the adult? No, they're just following each other around. What are you guys doing? Oh, they're very, very cute, but very smelly. So some burrows that we go to check, the chicks are also doing a really good job of pooing kind of outside the burrow, but quite often we go there and we can just hear the little pitter-patter of their feet inside the burrow because it's all wet and pooey and yucky. So some chicks that we get to weigh are really fluffy and really clean, and others, oh, it's a bit of a fight. There's still a chick down in the bottom corner. Get covered in penguin poo, which is like what I'm doing right now. So it's a little bit hard to see because of all the grass, but yep, there's definitely still a chick hanging around a little bit closer to us. So I hope you're all super excited and cuted out and watching these little penguins. They are very, very cute little chicks. So this is actually one of our study sites here at the Penguin Parade with these little wooden boxes. Oh, we've got a chick coming around the corner just here as well. Oh, there's a second one. I wonder which was the one that got stuck on the branches. Going to come and see if they can assault an adult to try and get some food, because the parents only regurgitate a little bit of food at a time.
Hey Jordan, why don't you tell our viewers why there's a rock on top of that box there?
So Heather's just asked me if I can talk about why there is a rock on top of this burrow. So this is actually a lid that we can open. So a lot of our research sites have these artificial nest boxes, the kind of mortgage-free penguin homes, as we like to call it. So it's a lot easier for us to peer in the box and see what's going on, rather than kind of sticking our hand all the way in a burrow, getting completely covered by poo and bringing the penguin out. So the rocks are on there just to make sure the lids do stay on there nice and safe and secure, because when penguins are on land during the day, they are in their burrows and they're hiding from any predators. Any predatory birds flying around here, the chicks are coming around the corner, are we? So yeah, just to prevent the wind from flying them off, but sometimes even ravens we find are really, really clever, and they have been found to try and kind of open boxes. So we put those rocks on our on these wooden boxes if they're in our study sites that we can open. Oh, looks like we've got a shell gritter on the top right hand corner, just to make sure these penguins are nice and safe on land during the day. Oh, we've got a little bit of commotion going on the other side. Is that the chicks? Let's have a look. Normally, after the live stream shifts, it's only a fairly short shift, so we get to go and have a nice kind of early night. that chick's kind of following through the grass. I can't really tell. But unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a late night at work tonight because directly after this, oh, yep, there's a chick. Directly after this, I'm going to be heading out into the penguin colony in the dark, and I'm going to be helping Megan, one of our live stream hosts, and Dr. Andre put some little kind of GPS trackers on some penguins, because this time tonight we are trying to work out where the parents, there's another chick down there, boy, see the little fluffy thing? We are trying to kind of monitor some penguins in what we call post guard. So when the chicks get a little bit older, they can spend maybe a day or two by themselves, and the parents will come in at night and then go back out in the morning. Whereas when the chicks are a little bit younger, mum or dad might stay with them for a day or two at a time. So the only way that we can put those little GPS trackers, which you probably would have seen Ross, our data analyst, talk about on Saturday night, is to go and put these little backpacks or these little GPS biologgers on them at night. So I'm going to be hanging out with Dr. Andre and our research technical officer and ranger Megan tonight in just a little bit. I believe Megan is going to be running a live stream tomorrow, so she'll be able to give you a little bit of an update. So I think it is time for us to finish up tonight. I will just jump back to the beach, so we've got a nice view of the penguins for our last view tonight. Thank you again so much for joining in. Remember, we are running this stream every night for the foreseeable future. So tune in tomorrow, same time, same place, and you'll be able to hang out with me and I believe Heather tomorrow as well. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and stay sane. If you do have a little bit of a spare change and you would like to help us protect these little penguins, remember you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. So until next time, everyone, I will see you on Wednesday, and I hope Megan will be able to give you a really good update tomorrow for how our penguin tracking has been going. Heather, do you want to come in and say goodbye?
Good night, everyone.
Bye,
Stay
and
safe.
we will do our signature huck, huck, goodbye. Ready? Huck,
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 huck.
huck,
Bye.
huck.
Huck.